Hey, welcome to Black Health Matters. My name is Harlan Bee Hodge. I am super excited today, man. I'm going to skip over all of the intros and all of that stuff today because we got to maximize our time today. We got the Anthony Stewart in the studio with us today, man, and I'm excited. This man is what we call a polymath. He is a master of many, many, many things. As a matter of fact, we're going to jump into as much of that as possible today. But in particular, because this is about Black Health Matters, we're going to talk about health. As a matter of fact, this morning, we've been already diving into a bunch of stuff. Yeah. So welcome, Mr. Anthony Stewart. How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm feeling pretty good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Man, it's been a minute since we've had some time together, man. It's been a lot of stuff happening, man. It's been a lot of stuff happening, man. We started this podcast. As a matter of fact, in so many ways, you're an inspiration for this, man.
Okay.
You know my story, after, spending about 15 years trying to help my wife through the multiple sclerosis and gaining a lot of weight, eating wrong, but realizing that I hadn't been taught how to eat right, figuring out, man, I might be in just as bad a shape as her after all of this stuff is over because I'm not taking care of myself. And a lot of people don't know that the inspiration to start running was to get some of that weight off that I was carrying around, just not feeling good about myself. And I don't think it was long after I moved back to St. Louis that we met. And, even beyond all of the creative stuff that we were doing together, when I found out about one, like, dude, what is it about this guy? Where does he get all this energy from? How does he keep looking as young as he does? I'm like, this dude like 80 years old. I look like 20.
Yeah, I ain't 80.
But we started talking about how and I love the way that you kind of brought me in. I actually remember the first time I was at your house and we were working on some projects and Reva brought out dinner for you. And it was a beautiful salad. Dude, the salad was beautiful. It had all these colors in it and all this stuff. It was stuff sprinkled. I was like, I ain't never had shit like that. I was like, and that was the meal, right? And I was like, wait a minute, they're on something different. And since this time, man, I have learned that what you put into your body is really a high determinant of what you get out of your body.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So tell us about where this comes from. What's the motivation around this whole healthy eating thing that you've been on?
The healthy eating for me originated with being in the Nation of Islam. I was in there for about 7 years, and that whole education on how to eat to live from Elijah Muhammad was what really got me going. Like I didn't understand all the technical stuff behind the different things that they were teaching. But I knew that, man, once I started eating that way, I felt better. So for example, you only eat one meal a day in the Nation. You fast the first Friday of every month, right? So I'm thinking, man, if I start eating one meal a day, I'm not gonna have energy. I thought I was gonna die for real,
That's
right?
Impossible.
So it's impossible to do that, right? So I started doing that. And even though I'm not literally in the Nation of Islam anymore, I've continued that since 1990. Of just eating
one meal a day.
One meal a day. Yep. And I feel great.
Man, they tell us that breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
And that's so not true. I mean, all of that is being fueled by industry. You know what I'm saying? You got to have breakfast. You got to have lunch. You got to have snacks in between. You got to have dinner. You got to have some more snacks. Your midnight snack.
That's
you
right.
know what I'm saying? So it takes your body, 24 hours to digest just one meal. But if you sit here constantly taking in more and more food, it can't process everything.
You don't even have time to process that.
It can't process. So what it does is it starts storing stuff in fat, just different pockets wherever it can get it. And it's trying to dump out the mucus that comes with that food at the same time. So it's like, okay, what do you want us to do with all this stuff? Well, go to the bathroom. Well, we really ain't got time to go to the bathroom right now. Just have it come out through its pores. Have it come out. So your body is trying to get rid of mucus through sneezing, going to the restroom, peeing, you know what I'm saying? All these different things. Sweating, it'll come out your eyes if necessary. So sometimes people wake up with all the, we just say, oh, you just got sleep.
Nasty stuff.
You got sleep in your eye. That's your body trying to get rid of mucus. It's crazy. All because we eating too much and we taking in too much junk food, man.
And we end up holding all of that stuff too. You can't, it's like it's busting out the seams.
And then a lot of us, we live a very sedentary life too. We don't move very much. We sitting in front of a computer. We had our job just standing still, putting one piece here, one piece there, you know what I'm saying, at a plant or something like that. So for the simple fact that people can't or don't move as much as they need to, the stuff, it has nowhere to go. So then sickness starts to set in from all this mucus and stuff that's just sitting in your body. So
man, I've heard you say that we've got to get rid of this two things in our diet:
white salt, white sugar. I am anti those. So I go around trying to create sauces now and things that we put on our food to replace the white salt and white sugar. So, for example, even with the white salt, I use pink Himalayan salt.
But wait a second. What's wrong with white salt and white sugar?
It's like glass. It's like swallowing glass in your body. And what I mean by that is white salt is so destructive because it gives you nothing. That and sugar are like two big lies that the body is told food is coming in. So you'll go and eat something that has all this sugar in it and all this salt in it, and you'll start thinking, he brought it over.
Yeah.
You'll start thinking that I ate something, right? But you didn't eat anything. It was an empty calorie. It was an empty food cell, basically. So you're taking in all this white salt and white sugar, you thinking it's in the food. Well, first of all, it's in the food that you done cooked. Then you go and add the sauces on top of it, and your body's going, okay, I'm good. I ate today. Then all of a sudden, an hour or so later, damn, I can't believe I'm hungry again. Why? Because you just lied to your body. So now your body's like, okay, now you really got to go get something to eat. So we go get some more salt and some more sugar. Two things that are not actually food things. You get what I'm saying? So
we keep pounding on fake food.
We pounding on fake food. So if you're going to replace that with a real salt or natural salt, like pink Himalayan salt, like they got black volcanic salt, you know what I'm saying? These things are actually have the minerals that your body needs, that it feeds off of. You know what I'm saying? Replace the sugar with, use honey, use agave. There's so many other things you can use, stevia even. You know what I mean? From the stevia plant, even though they kind of commercialize that as well. But those two things I think do the most damage to us by lying to our bodies and making it think that we're getting something that we're not.
So you've been on a somewhat of a mission, man, and creating all of these, meeting us where we at,
Trying to
meet us where we at.
Trying to, yes, sir.
So tell me about some of the stuff that you created.
So far as a burger, you mean like the food items and stuff like that, or the sauces?
So you introduced me to a product called Layla
Spice. So Layla Spice came out of us constantly going to the store to get a seasoning salt to put on some of the food, right? I started looking at it, it's like, man, and all the seasoning salts, you got white salt, white sugar. I'm like, man, there's no seasoning spice without white salt and white sugar in it. So I was like, no, I'm finna come up with it. And I started mixing all these different spices and stuff together, but I was like, dang, I still need a salt in here. I gotta have a salt. So then I was researching salts, found out about pink Himalayan salt. This is years ago. And I put a little bit of that in it, but then I had the cayenne in it. I have paprika in it. I have turmeric in it. I have garlic granules in it, onion granules. And that's the difference also between onion powder and garlic powder. The powder comes from the bottom of the barrel. That's the cheapest stuff. That's what's leftover residue. You don't want that. You want the granules, onion granules and garlic granules. They're whole and more healthy for you. Anyway, also they taste, the flavor of them is stronger in garlic granules and onion granules. But I put all this in, mixed it up, had my wife taste it, and she was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. And then we did a Layla Crunch, because I was like, well, dang, like you see all the stuff that was sprinkled on the top. I was like, okay, well, maybe I can make a little dressing or something like that. Not a liquid dressing, but something else to just add on top of the food. And so I got some parsley, I got oregano, I got turbinado sugar, which is a brown sugar. I got red pepper flakes. I got black sesame seeds. I was like, man, this stuff can work. So I started putting it on the food, let people taste it. Everybody love it. So now I have Layla Spice and Layla Crunch.
Man, that's and it's great. What it does is it gives you all of these different flavors that you need, and then you start saying,
it gives you the healthy side of it too, man. It gives you the healthy side. So food should always look good. They say you start to eat with your senses so far as your smell and your eyes first. Yeah. So I try to make everything look as spectacular as possible. I'll go to saveur.com and look at all these fine dining recipes, and it's like, how can I rework that so that it's healthy and is more affordable to be able to have that same thing at your house. You know what I'm saying? So,
and that shows up. You're known as the mixologist.
yes.
Yeah.
Food mixologist.
Man,
Yes,
when
sir.
people look at your pages, your social media pages, and they see just the pictures of the food, it's incredible, man. But you made some chicken wings.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I make chicken wings. I don't use white salt and white sugar with them. When I fry them, it's in either peanut oil or avocado oil, something like that. I'm not using the regular canola oil. Man, people need to stop eating canola oil for real. Leave that alone if you can.
Tell me about these oils, man. You brought me some stuff today, man.
Yeah, they're not labeled yet, but I got a hot sauce because black people love hot sauce. No white salt, no white sugar. Once again, that's the whole thing. Most hot sauces have white salt and white sugar in them. Again, so it's like, well, I cannot make something that has the same taste and flavor of the regular hot sauce that we have out here, but it's still healthy. So I use actual, Thai chilies and all like that, and soak them and let them sit. And I go through my process that I have to make this, but it's really pretty good, man. People love it.
Man, it's amazing. Okay, so tell us about this other one that you bring it to me.
This one right here is a rosemary infused olive oil. Now, a lot of people, black people don't necessarily do this, but if you go to restaurants, they bring the oil out in the bread. So usually it's just straight olive oil. I don't like the taste of just straight olive oil, so I infuse it with rosemary and some garlic and stuff like that, some thyme in it as well. But it has a nice flavor to it. So when I gave it to a friend of mine, he doesn't do that. The first thing he did was smelled it. He was like, man, this smells wonderful. He then went through the damn bottle. I was like, dude, slow down. You ain't supposed to eat it like that. But olive oil is good for you. Rosemary is good for you. So I put them together to make our own little oil that we can use to dip breads in and whatever else you want to put it on.
So this is what I think is beautiful, man. And I just thought I was special. I thought you were bringing me the stuff that I needed to be good with.
Oh, man.
And so you've been doing that for other people, man. And so you've been making these products.
Yes, sir.
Just trying to get them out to people.
Yes, sir.
So they can start changing the way that they eat.
Yes, sir.
Right. And so I want to thank you for that, because this is how we actually change sort of the stuff that we know and put it into action. Right. A lot of people tell you, stop eating this, stop it. But they don't give you
You got to replace something with something. You just can't tell somebody to stop doing something like that. That's even with like how I went to the one meal a day. I had to replace that time that I would be eating with something else that was productive and fulfilling. So I started engaging more into learning different things. Like, man, I got a lot of extra time on my hands. What would I normally be doing right now?
You replaced a meal with study time.
Mental meal. Yeah. Yep.
Instead of eating,
I would go read a book or start
yourself.
researching information on different things I want to do, things I want to try. So I spend a lot of time studying and working, of course.
Man, that all makes sense, man. That all makes sense. Now I got a bone to pick with you before we, finish this thing. Man.
Let's pick it.
You told me we can't eat greens, right?
I didn't say you couldn't eat greens.
You said we shouldn't be eating greens.
Not mixed greens.
First of all, this ain't my biggest
greens.
issue.
Let me say this though about the greens. Greens are basically weeds. That's why we have to cook them for so long. You have a weed. Weeds are eaten mostly by animals that have multiple stomachs, so that they can process that. Right? So we try to cook it down and boil it all dang day, or try to fry it and do whatever we can to the.
My grandma made. She lived off of greens. She lived to be 104 years old, man.
I'm sure she did, but hopefully she was balancing that with something else. Seriously, because that's the other thing too. With all the poisons that are out here, you have to have a diet that's balanced so that it doesn't negatively affect you. Also, I'll say this too, that some of the stuff that we take in, it doesn't necessarily manifest as fat. It manifests in your ability to perceive information, take in information, to even communicate, to talk properly. Some people have different like lesions and, I got this one mole on my back and this one boil and stuff like that. It's like your body is still trying to get rid of the stuff that's coming into it because they don't know what to do with it. It's like, okay, what is this? So let's just dump it out. So a lot of times when we eat greens, you're not really getting anything from the greens. You got to go eat something else. They're just going through your system. It's like a donut. You just dropping stuff straight through you.
Now you said that the problem with the greens that we eat is that they're weeds.
They're weeds.
And I told you I don't eat greens no more. I eat kale and arugula.
I how I say this, man.
Well, you got a problem with my kale, man.
I got a problem with the kale. Because to me, it's almost kind of like another type of a weed. You know what I mean? That you still gotta cook and process a certain type of way, and then you gotta add other things with it. Once again, you gotta balance the meal out. But if somebody was just I'm just gonna eat kale. Okay, you don't want to do that for like no week. You know what I'm saying? Just eating kale. It's not that you'll start to see changes in your body. Trust me. Like if a food should be something that you could take, let's say at the beginning of the week, and I'm just gonna eat this the whole week. You should be fine. But if you just eating that particular thing, you don't balance it out, because your body's gonna say, okay, what am I doing with this kale? What am I supposed to do with it? What am I supposed to get out of this? How am I supposed to get out? Because this is another thing people tell you. Well, it's loaded with this and this and this vitamin and this nutrient and stuff like that. Hey, what's a vitamin? We don't know. What's a nutrient? We usually don't know. And those things may even be in that kale or whatever, but they don't tell you if your body can get it out of them. So it might, all that stuff might be in there, but if your body can't process it, synthesize it, and pull what it needs out of it, what's the point? Does your body actually take those nutrients out of that particular food? So that's one of the things problems I have with greens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
man, it's
here's something that you could replace it with too, real quick. Bok choy leaves.
Bok choy leaves.
Bok choy leaves. Take some bok choy, cut the green leaves off of them, cook them. It don't take long to cook them at all, and eat them. Tastes just like greens.
So what's the difference between bok choy and kale?
Well, it's not a weed. It's actually like it's a food, because bok choy is it's a cabbage. It's like a Chinese cabbage. You get what I'm saying? So it's just the leaves that's coming from the cabbage that you're eating, and it's actually the healthier part of the bok choy. That's why they're so, dark and green and stuff like that. But the weeds are just coming straight up out the ground. That's different. That's not a food like that. It's not a food for us. It's food for animals. Man,
you're doing a lot of educating here, right? You ain't no doctor.
I study a lot. And anything I study, man, I try to study at least 10 different sources for that thing and try to find the common denominator, because we can easily get locked up in what one person says about how to eat, about how to do, different things like that. And that's one of the things I take from the nation too. Elijah Muhammad said, don't just listen to me. He's like, go out there and study it, look at it, but don't just go to one. We'll run to one person, or the popular person, as you was talking about, like with politics, right?
Absolutely.
Who's the most popular person on health?
Right.
We look at them and they look all fit.
And we take everything that they say.
I want to look just like them. You know what I mean? Or I want to live like them, or whatever it is. And you don't know this person's whole daily regimen. You don't know how much they work out. You don't know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? All you say is, dang, he looks healthy. I should do what he's doing. Yeah.
Man, that's incredible. You've applied these principles to all kinds of stuff, man. I know that you were concerned about women's health and deodorant and stuff. So you created your own deodorant.
Yes, sir. Safi deodorant. Yep. That was because everybody was using antiperspirants to keep sweat from coming down. Well, your body's supposed to sweat. That's one of the ways it gets the poisons out of your system. It's through the sweat coming out from your armpits. You know what I'm saying? So when you put on antiperspirant, you block that. You keep it from sweat. Now it has to process and move the poisons through a different part of your body. Well, you poisoning yourself by moving it through a different part of your body to get out through you going to the bathroom or something like that. You get what I'm saying? Not only that, you're adding aluminum to your system. Aluminum's not supposed to be in the body like that. So here you are packing this sensitive area where it's supposed to be waste. It's almost like taking aluminum and putting it in your butt. Yeah. Keep yourself from going to the bathroom. Anyway, so I made Safi deodorant, man, with no aluminum. It's based on shea butter, baking soda, a couple other oils that I put in there so it can go on smooth and all like that,
And so now I think people are waking up to the things that they put in their bodies and on their bodies. And so people are spending more time sort of examining that stuff. And you got a beautiful wife, man, who has a product out right now.
Yes, L butter. That's right here. Put that up for the camera, right?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I use it today, man. I've been real dry, man.
Well, it depends on what you do during the day, how much water you're taking in and stuff like that. And if you constantly washing your hands, your hands gonna be dry. So especially during the whole thing dealing with COVID and whatnot. So you have to wash your hands a lot. But yeah, L butter, she made with she has
give me that.
She got some of everything in there, bruh. Shea butter, once again, we always using the shea butter as the base. But as I was doing the deodorant and I met her and she was already doing her L butter, was like, oh, this is gonna be great. You know what I'm saying? So I looked at what she had in it, and I was like, man, she had more stuff in there than I did. I was like, dang, like, where'd you find all these oils? She's like, I researched. I was like, same thing. So anyway, yeah, this is the only thing I use on my body. I'm not putting nothing else on my body but this, because your skin, anything you put on your body that's an oil, anything like that, you should be able to eat it. Because that's what your skin is doing. It's absorbing
you're consuming it.
Exactly. So when you go to the store and you get all these oils and body butters or whatever you get, and they have all these chemicals in them. If you look at the back and you can't even pronounce the word, you don't need to have it on your body. You know what I'm saying? So, and then they have like 10 words, and then you see oil, coconut oil, 10 different chemicals and a little bit of olive oil over here. It's like, what? Nah, And then two have water in them so that they end up drying you back out after you use them. So now you keep using more and more and more.
Man, this feels so good. Man, this is just great. It's not oily. You know what I'm saying? It just feels good. As a matter of fact, there's very few times when I have an opportunity to just take care of myself, just that moment to be able to do that.
You know something? After I work out in the morning, I always go to the spa. And the spa is just in my bathroom now, so it ain't like I'm rich or nothing like that. But what I mean by go to the spa is take my time. I give myself a whole hour just to get clean, to meditate a little bit, just relax and really be, manicure yourself, detail. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
I think everybody should do that. It's relaxing, very soothing, and you can properly get yourself set up for the day.
Man, I love it, man. Listen, I think we run out of time.
Okay.
But I want to drop something to end this episode with, man. This is my new philosophy.
Okay.
Right. And you can tell me what you think about it off camera. Thanks for tuning in to Black Health Matters. Here it is. Eat love, shit flowers, run like a Tesla, no gas. I see y'all next time.